Things is easily one of the best shows on Netflix at the moment, but there are a lot of conspiracies that lovers of the show are coming up with as its fourth season is in its initial stages. Many have unanswered questions as well, and many want those questions and confusions to get cleared up in the future season. So today, here are all the Stranger Things Season 4 conspiracies that we need to know about.
But first, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We are giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad Mini, or MacBook Pro. It's all your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple.
1. Hopper's tragic end. Those who are keen readers and lovers of Shakespeare's work might know that Shakespeare used a lot of tragic heroes in his plays. They had their flaws, but the heroes still, in the end, were shown to be fearless, eventually saving everyone else from an external threat. Similarly, John Hopper, the sheriff of the town of Hawkins, died in a harsh death. We saw him giving up his life while Eleven was struggling to close the gate between the two worlds. Hopper, in an attempt to save the town of Hawkins from the monstrous creatures of the Upside Down, gave up his own life. However, when Season 3 ended on this note, many viewers were not satisfied with the closing scene. They were hoping to see a lot more scenes with Hopper, and his death implied that the audience would not be able to see him on screen for the fourth season. Hence, in an attempt to confirm whether their favorite character was dead or alive, many conspiracies grew. The conspiracies revolve around the fact that Hopper is either in the Russian jail or is in the Upside Down, implying that the end shown is not exactly the end of Jim Hopper. 2. Bauman, a conspiracy theorist. We saw Bauman in Season 2 as well as Season 3. He was shown as a journalist living in a secluded area who already knew about Russia's malevolent actions in the town of Hawkins. In Season 3, there was an Easter egg where we heard a machine message generated by Bauman himself. We even saw Hopper using a number to connect with Bauman in Season 3, Episode 6. In the machine message, we heard Bauman talking about Jim and Joyce. Jim died, and Joyce had left the town of Hawkins. Bauman talked about them and gave us an indication that they are certainly going to come back to the plot, and because the message was extremely hidden, people could not get the full details. 3. Reason behind Hopper's disappearance. While Hopper disappeared in the last scene of the third season, there might be a backstory attached to it. We saw that Hopper was under threat from the Russians as well as the monstrous creatures from the Upside Down. As Hopper loved Joyce and the kids, he gave up his own life to save theirs. It could be that Hopper wanted to close the gate of the Upside Down and the link between Russia and the town of Hawkins without endangering the life of his loved one. He knew that even if the Upside Down closed, the Russians would still come for him and there would be a constant threat from the Russians. In order to eradicate that, he gave himself up either to the Russians or to the Upside Down. This will be confirmed in the fourth season. 4. Hopper and Han Solo. There is one thing in common between Hopper from Stranger Things and Han Solo from Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and that is a moment of sacrifice. Han Solo was frozen in carbonite in Star Wars. Similarly, John Hopper also died in an attempt to save his town and his loved ones. In an interview, the Duffer Brothers explained, "We always wanted to give him a darker ending. We always wanted to give him a Han Solo sacrifice moment." He continued, "It was emotional to shoot, but it was really, really quick." 5. Where are Eleven's powers? We saw in the end of Stranger Things Season 3 that Eleven, who fought the monstrous creatures in Season 1 and 2, was also fighting them in Season 3. But one thing we saw was that the Mind Flayer was extremely powerful. The creature would take over other people's minds, hypnotize them, and eventually use them to conduct his own malevolent activities. Eleven saw her powers deteriorating once she battled the Mind Flayer. When Eleven was using her powers to find out what activities Billy was doing under the influence of the Mind Flayer, she was unable to fully use her psychokinetic powers. But in the last scene, when she had to close the gate, all her powers were exhausted, and hence, she lost them all. However, the question arises whether Eleven will rediscover her powers, or will she have to live without them? Many have conspired that Eleven will regain her powers, as the plot is still moving forwards and there is still a threat from the Russians as well as the Upside Down. If the creators are taking away Eleven's powers, then the battle will no longer remain between the town of Hawkins and the Russian invasion. Hence, in order to keep the fascination and the battle alive between good and evil, Eleven will rediscover her powers. 6. Stranger Things and the Russian threat. As the Russians were constantly indulging in activities that would not only harm the town of Hawkins but the whole of the United States of America, the Stranger Things series talks about the prevailing paranoia. In the year when its first season came out, it was election year in the United States. We all might have seen our TV screens blaring the same news of Russians indulging and hacking the elections. The differences between the two countries started from the Cold War, and the two had very different ways of governance. As the Russians were those trying to temper the election results and being a constant threat for the USA, they were shown shown as the Upside Down makers in this series. As the Russians were utilizing their technology to build an army from the upside down, in the real world it implied the Russians were utilizing their technology to change the election results. The American paranoia prevails and can be seen figuratively in many areas of the plot. The kids running away from the attack of the Demogorgons or the Mind Flayer can be seen as a portrayal from the Cold War scenes. The creatures from the Upside Down being monitored by the Russians can be seen as a Soviet invasion in the 1950s. 7. Psychological experiments. A show that is all about labs, testing, and psychological procedures implies nothing but unethical ways to test human beings and animals. Science has been an integral part of the show, which means the overuse of this idea might have had a background to it. For example, in one of the storylines related to 11, we learned about Dr. Brenner, who used to conduct experiments on human beings. He even conducted an experiment on 11, which eventually gave her the psychokinetic powers. But this was a portrayal of a much bigger picture. The conspiracy theorists say that the makers actually wanted to show how psychology has been misused over the past years. There are a lot of historical references related to the Philadelphia experiment, where the samples were human beings and they were unethically used in the experiments, with the most common activity being electric shocks. Moreover, it was also conspired that the creators first wanted to name the show Montauk. Montauk was a place where psychological experiments used to take place and was infamous for the crude experiments on human beings. Thus, all of these, and the hints given in the show, are all references to the misuse of psychological studies and experiments. 8. Chernobyl and the Stranger Things. Many might get confused when I put the two together. The Chernobyl disaster was an event that took place in Russia in a nuclear reactor power plant. The disaster was well registered in history as it led to major accidents and eventually caused a lot of financial harm to the Russian economy. Many people believe that the Soviet inclusion in the plot could be an indication of the Chernobyl disaster, which took place in the year 1986, the same year when the 4th season of Stranger Things is going to be set. The connection could be drawn as we saw in the teaser given by the creators of season 4, where Jim Hopper was seen as a prisoner in Russia. He could be working over there at the same time when the disaster might have happened, as we saw him working in a field filled with snow. Thus, the two timelines can coincide, and the season 4 plot might also showcase some of the horrors that took place because of the Chernobyl disaster. The Soviet invasion in the town of Hawkins and then taking away Jim Hopper as a prisoner could be because during that time Russians required workers to work on the Chernobyl fields, an area with a constant threat of radiation harming the human body. They might have taken Hopper to that land in order to make sure he suffers and ends up losing his life. For many, these conspiracies might sound true, or for some they might be slightly over the top, but these conspiracies do exist within the circles of those who love watching the Stranger Things series. It's pretty crazy to think about everything that has the potential to happen in Stranger Things, especially when we have the fact that there is still going to be one more season after season 4, so we just know that they're going to be filling the next season with some burning questions. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We are giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or MacBook Pro. It's all your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple.